And we are live. How are you doing, Ben?
I am very well, thank you, Dan. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm very good, thank you. It's not quite 4 o'clock, so we're just doing a little pre-show natter, as we sometimes like to do. Apologies, I think I am aware that my audio isn't in sync with my video, but you know that's what happens when you get the B team on the production of the project, so we can all blame Adam
Bring
for
back
that.
Adam. Yeah, bring back Adam.
Absolutely. So yeah,
Trying to
we'll
get that stream up myself.
see if anybody is in the chat. Let us know if we're coming through loud and clear, because we know I'm not the most reliable pair of hands.
You did all right last week. I thought you held your own.
Thanks very much, Ben. I appreciate that.
Yeah. According to Joe, we're both fine.
Excellent
and I'm going to take that as
stuff.
glowing praise from Joe.
Yeah. Joe knows what he's doing in these things, so I'll accept that as kudos. Hello, Tony, as
Yep.
well.
Hey, Tony. Good to see you in the chat.
Absolutely. Dan's not so robotic this week. Yes, Steve, I did have 2 audio sources running at the same time. So you had double Dan, which nobody really wants to experience that.
No, single Dan is just enough. Verging on the too much, but definitely not double Dan.
Absolutely.
Anyway, shall we talk some video game news?
Yes, let's. What's been happening?
So this week we are going to kick off talking about Microsoft. And I don't know if you saw this, they did a very quick U-turn on what they were going to be doing with Xbox Live, specifically the Gold. So they said that they were going to up the price, and it was going up in bursts, and essentially they doubled the price. What is now the 12-month price for Xbox Live Gold was going to be the 6-month price, and people weren't very happy about that, and they were not shy in telling Microsoft that, who immediately walked it back, and they kept the price at exactly the same cost, and they actually made it so that you didn't need Xbox Live Gold to play the free-to-play games. So you actually ended up getting more than you started from when the price was going to go up. People, I guess, it was a play, I guess, to try and make people move to Game Pass Ultimate, because it would then make the offering so much more valuable by upping the value of Xbox Live Gold. But seemingly, that's not really worked so much, and they turned it back, which I think was the right thing to do. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Xbox Live Gold. I mean, Xbox Live Gold. It feels like you almost forget about it, that is still a standalone item. It's all, especially for us, we're always all about Game Pass and focusing on that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there are still a lot of subscribers on Gold, a lot of people who aren't interested in Game Pass or aren't able to participate in Game Pass. So yeah, it's it perhaps wasn't the most considered move to just double the price overnight, but they also backtracked very quickly, so kudos to them for listening and taking action, I guess. But maybe they're the same. Maybe it was just like it wasn't forefront of their plans, but yeah, mistimed, and it'd be interesting to see what they do with it going forwards and how they roll out any changes to it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I forgot Xbox Live Gold was a thing until this, and it's funny because I'm up in Leeds at my parents' house at the moment, and upstairs with the original Xbox is like the box, like when you used to buy it as it was a game. So yeah, I forgot it was a thing. But yeah, sticking with Microsoft, and speaking of Game Pass, they're up to 18 million subscribers, which is fantastic news for them, and shows how valuable the service is. And potentially, partly maybe why they got a bit of backlash is they have had their best financial period for a long time. In December, they reported for the end of December for that quarter, their gaming revenue was up 51%. Probably no surprise because the Xbox Series consoles came out. It was an 86% uplift in hardware and a 40% uplift in content and services. And it was the first time that they passed 5 billion for a quarter. So didn't really need that extra money for Xbox Live Gold.
Yeah, come on.
But that's really good news for Microsoft, and yeah, it's really no surprise that that's been the case. It's they've said the Xbox Series launch is the most successful console launch that they've ever had, the most sold in the first launch day in the first quarter. So, and that's great if you
I
can get one. I still can't get one.
I
So.
mean, yeah, with supply challenges, a global pandemic, that's pretty good results. Something for them to be very happy with, and good news for the industry as a whole. Really, definitely, there's still plenty of growth and excitement in the industry still, which is definitely what we like to see.
Yes, certainly. Moving on, Vicarious Visions has been merged into Blizzard. They have had a long-standing relationship with Blizzard. They do a lot of work with them and for them, and now they're going to be a part of them. And in the release that they've said, essentially all the employees are now becoming Blizzard employees, and they are now no longer going to be creating games as the lead developer, which is not great news if you're a Tony Hawk fan. Obviously, the Tony Hawk remaster just came out, so it's maybe a little bit uncertain as to what's going to be going on with the future of that franchise. But as far as anyone is concerned now, Vicarious Visions is now a part of Blizzard officially. And also good news for Jen O'Neill, who was the studio head of Vicarious Visions. She's been promoted to brand executive VP of development at Blizzard. So congratulations to her. And that's great to see. Hard work's paying off.
Absolutely. Very cool.
Next up, Tencent have been on a little bit of a spending spree recently. They've just bought a majority stake in, and I'm going to say it wrong, Klai Entertainment. I get something wrong every week. I don't know. Just need straightforward names for my simple brain.
I think
but the good news,
it might be Clue is how it's pronounced, but don't quote me on that.
I was never going to get that from the spelling.
No.
Nothing like Clue. That I'm going to take that one. That's fine. That's fine to mess that one up. But the good news for them is that they've said that they're going to remain autonomous. They're still going to have control over what they're doing, and they actually had other offers on the table, but this was the only offer that gave them the level of control that they were demanding. So congratulations to them and Tencent.
Tencent, a really interesting one. I'm hearing, obviously they are a huge global corporation. They always, that will always be scrutinized and there will always be skeptics. But from the industry side, of the games industry side of things, I hear nothing but good things about dealing with them and, like say, kind of people being able to retain autonomy and not perhaps be as controlling overlords as you might typically associate with a very large organization like that. But yeah, interesting, and like I say, well done to them.
Yeah, and they have also bought a minority stake for $30 million in Don't Nod Studio, who make the vampire games. And although it's a minority stake, it's been reported that they've put that investment in to help them to focus on their self-publishing efforts. So as you were saying, they're looking to help people out. Obviously, they'll benefit from it, but it's, as you say, it's doing good for the industry. So that's good to hear. And again, congratulations to Tencent again and Don't Nod Studios.
Yeah, Don't Nod also made the Life is Strange series of games, which I'm a huge fan of. And yeah, I did see a question somewhere on one of their social platforms. It's like, if you own a small stake in every games company, are you still a monopoly?
Yeah, interesting one. But yeah, good for them. Great to see, and be interesting to see how they fare with their self-publishing. It's always interesting to see how it goes in the publishing sphere, if you're going to get a publisher or if you want to grow and become and publish your own titles. So best of luck to them both. If you are a Peter Moore fan, you'll be happy to hear that he is back in the game space. If you don't know who he was, he's previously been at Sega, Microsoft, EA, and he was the president of Sega America when the Dreamcast came out, and ultimately was the one who had to announce that it was going away. And also, probably maybe more famously, was he tattooed the Halo 2 release date on his arm. Whether that was real or not, who knows? If we can get him on the show, we'll get him to show his arm and see if it's still there.
If you're watching, Peter, let us know.
Yeah, I'm sure he's in the chat. Definitely. So he's back at Unity. He spent the last 4 years fulfilling his boyhood dreams, being a executive at Liverpool Football Club, who I'm not a fan of, but fair play. At
To each their
least it's
own.
a northern club. But he has gone to Unity, and he is leading the sports and live entertainment division as a senior VP and the general manager. So good to see him back in games, and be interesting to see where that leads with Unity.
That's a real interesting sort of career progression, isn't it? I can't imagine there are many people that have gone games, Premiership football games in their lifetimes. So yeah, welcome back, Peter.
Yeah. And congratulations on winning the Premiership last year. So I do know a few bits about football. It's not my game of choice, but I know that happened. So
well done.
Thank you. In odd news, seemingly there's nothing that Tesla cars aren't going to do. It was recently just shown that the Tesla Model S is also a games console, or it's going to have a games console in it, or let you play games in it. Some photos came out, and it showed on the screen Witcher 3, Stardew Valley, Cuphead, Fallout, and it said that the gaming function is going to have 10 teraflops of power, which is the same as the PS5. And the image that I saw, it said it was games playable from every seat, and I hope that's not the driver's seat. Even if it's driving itself, you probably should be paying attention to what's in front of you, just in case. Not that I'm skeptical about self-driving cars, I just don't trust them. But yeah, it's interesting. It seems that they'll just make Teslas do anything, and that's cool too. I mean, if you're a fan of gaming and you don't want to put it down when you're on a journey, then perfect.
Yeah, I think the current Teslas do have some game support. I think there's like a limited version of Cuphead available to play on them. Perhaps we'll have to get Tom Frame, our chairman at Etch. Perhaps we'll have to get him to go and check it out and let us know what he thinks.
Yeah, is this the rival to the Nintendo Switch? That's what everyone loves about the Nintendo Switch. You can just pick it up and take it with you when you're traveling. Now you can just
drive
it's
in your
the car.
console.
Yeah, it's just in the car anyway. But yeah, that's interesting, but surprising, but not really that surprising. EA have done pretty well recently with Star Wars Battlefront. They ran a promotion in the Epic Games Store, and they recently tweeted out that they saw 19 million players take advantage of that. So I guess that's a success story where everyone benefits. That's great for EA, great for the Epic Games Store, and great for the players. That they got a good deal. I know you're a Star Wars fan and you play Star Wars games. Have you played Battlefront?
I've only kind of played it briefly. I did want to get into it, but being an old man multiplayer, it's a very multiplayer focused game. I didn't really stick with it, but yeah, that is a very interesting move and good numbers because it's been out a good couple of years now. So yeah, very cool, nice. We often talk about kind of long life games, and that's definitely a good way of injecting a new swathe of audience into your game.
And sticking with the Star Wars news, there are rumors afoot that there is a new Knights of the Old Republic is coming, but it's not being done by EA and it's not being done by BioWare. Obviously, we spoke previously a couple of weeks ago about Lucasfilm and saying that Star Wars was going to be looked at by other developers, which is interesting. So it's not really clear what the game's going to be. Is it going to be a remake, reimagining, same premise but completely different game? But yeah, that's apparently in the works. We don't know who's making it. I was reading quotes that you'll never guess who it is, but it's not mysterious. It's just that it's not a household name that you might have heard of. But if you're a fan of those games, watch this space because it seems like there is going to be another game of a similar ilk coming out at some point.
Very exciting. More Star Wars, we like that. Knights of the Old Republic is a very popular fan favourite, I think. So yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, I might even start getting in on that action. I'm late to Star Wars, never really got the hype. Still don't massive get the hype around the films, but love The Mandalorian. That's top class TV.
Agreed.
And I guess, yeah, we'll just close off the new segment. I'm going to throw it to you, Dan, to talk about Every Mind Matters, some games for good.
Yes, so there is a really good campaign that our friends at Yuki and Ask About Games are supporting. This is the Better Health Every Mind Matters to help protect and improve the nation's mental health and well-being. And yeah, they're going to be I mean, it's a generic national campaign encouraging the mental health and well-being, whilst we're all many people in uncomfortable, unfamiliar scenarios with the ever ongoing pandemic. And yeah, Yuki are looking to take a supporting role in that and looking at how games can help people's mental health during the COVID-19 pandemic. So go and check that out. Askaboutgames.com. There's a news article on there, and yeah, people should get behind that, and hopefully we can all benefit and support such initiatives, which is good to see happening.
Awesome. Brilliant. And yeah, congrats to you, Key, on that. And yeah, as Dan said, go check that out. Now we're going to throw to Etch Play Checks Out Live some Carto, but stick with us. After that, me and Dan will be back, and we'll be talking about influencer marketing and how that can help your game. People like us, influencers like us on Twitch, and
big name
we'll be talking
stars
about that.
like us. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So stick with us, enjoy Carto, and we'll be back very shortly with more chat.
Hello, my name is Adam Burt, and I'm joined by Dan Thomas. How's it going, Dan?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm feeling ready for some cartography. This is Carto, a little puzzle game from Sunhead Games based in Taiwan, quite a small studio. We're playing here on the PC. This is the Game Pass version, playing with Xbox controller though. And yeah, we're going to do some light puzzling, shall we say. Sound good?
Sounds excellent. Yes, I checked this game out over Christmas, and it is super wonderful. Very sweet, and a little bit of pleasantness in this world that we live in is good.
So we're getting a little tutorial here. This is the very beginning of the game. We've just fallen out of a blimp, and we have these magic map pieces, which basically allow you to reconfigure the landscape as you see fit. So here, for example, we want to probably get up here. So let's pick up this piece, move it over here, and the edges need to match, don't they? So I need to rotate this so that it looks like that. And boom. I think
there we go.
We've done it.
Super satisfying mechanic, this, and they do a lot with it throughout the game. It's really good.
We found a new piece of the map. So the more pieces we connect, the more the world will grow. You can see we have a problem here, and this is the first puzzle. So I feel confident we can solve this together, Dan. If we put our heads together, it needs to... We basically need 3 different sides, don't we? Because we need to be able to... Can I move myself? Oh, yes, I can. Good. All the sides need to match. So if we do that... There we go.
Look at that.
Really nice art style as well, this game. Let's, ahoy there.
As you mentioned, yeah, a small team put this together, and yeah, the complexity of this simple mechanic that they achieve is really impressive. As you say, the art style is lovely, nice little music and sound effects, very well put together from a small team.
Got ourselves another piece, which we can stick on over here, and let's go and explore that house.
This is one of those indie games that's been a relative huge success for when you think of the size of the team. As you said, this is on Game Pass. It's been released on Switch, and it's on PlayStation and on PC. So they've got real good coverage, some good platform deals that they must have struck, which is I always like to see that from small teams.
Yeah. It's a charming game, isn't it? It's kind of immediately obvious, so I think it's it's good to see it reaching a wider audience than it maybe would as a little game, especially with something like Game Pass. I just think it just makes it's a totally different proposition to just download this and play it for free compared to.
Yeah, I think it definitely encourages folks to maybe try new styles of games, new genres of games that they wouldn't necessarily be prepared to commit an independent financial transaction for.
Yeah, definitely it changes the way that I consume games.
Yeah, same. And yeah, you discover gems like Carto.
Oh, we can put that down here. Oh, and there's someone on the map. Let's go and talk to them. So obviously, I mean, you're the Carto expert here, Dan. I'm guessing that the complexity ramps up in terms of the piece variety of the map and the landscapes.
Absolutely. You're very much doing the onboarding tutorial, which is nice. I do enjoy it when the game considers this and it's not just mechanically tutorialized. Actually, they're threading in some of the narrative and introducing you to characters, and you don't feel like you're just doing an isolated tutorial. But yeah, it does ramp up, and you get different map pieces. You get you travel between different island types. And yeah, they introduce a lot of variety, all stemming from this core map building mechanic. But they get a lot of mileage out of it.
We completed the first puzzle, but now I'm at a loss with this second one.
I was rambling. What was the last messaging that you had?
There's a man there, and he's like, "Help me find my home. It's to the east,
okay.
but obviously
Yes.
it's no longer to the east."
Well, I think it's relative to where he is, so you can actually, I think, move him.
Oh, okay.
So obviously there isn't anything east of him at the moment.
But if there was, a house would appear. Is that what we think?
I think yes. I think if you move that one on the far right. No, yeah, sorry, yeah. You want to make him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to.
The map doesn't all have to be connected, so you can split it into separate.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So yeah, we could put him up here. We could rotate him.
Yeah.
And we could.
Yeah.
Just put that there.
I think when you get the map right, you'll see it appear.
Okay. He's got nothing else to say. East of the house on the grassland.
Yeah. So I think put him to the right of the house.
Like that?
There we go.
I see. It's already way more complex than I was imagining. I thought I had it down. I thought I'd nailed it.
Yeah, like, how can this be complicated?
That was spatial awareness. It's not for me. Well, yeah, this is Carto. Check it out on Game Pass if you have that, or it's also available on PlayStation and Switch. And yeah, very fun little puzzler. Exercise your mind with maps. Dan, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.
And we're going to throw it back to the studio and this week's live show. Back to you. Bye.
Bye. And we are back. That was Adam having absolutely no issues whatsoever with the entry-level onboarding of the very simple game Carto, which, as you probably saw in the video, I'm a huge fan of. Ben, are we going to talk about some stuff?
We are. We're going to talk about some influencer marketing for video games, which is a subject that we have spoke about before. We're by no means the industry leading experts, but we have a strong interest in it. We're looking more into it. And yeah, it's an area of huge potential, which is why we're going to talk about it again. What's prompted wanting to talk about this again is, I don't know if you've seen what Rust has been doing very recently. They started running campaigns across Twitch across the new year. And it's always typically a very well-received game, and it's always reasonably high in the most played games on Steam. But ever since this has kicked off, it's risen into the top 5 most played games on Steam, and it's stayed there. And that's definitely been down to the activity that they've been doing on Twitch and working with streamers and influencers to really drive that game. And they tweeted out that they made $1 million in 2 days off the back of this. So that doesn't show the potential of this.
I mean, that's staggering numbers, and I've just done a quick search. So the initial release of Rust was December 2013. So when we talk about long life games, that's pretty good going for something that was released that long ago initially.
Yeah, making $1 million in 2 days, 8 years after your game has been released is phenomenal by any stretch. I don't care who you are, that's amazing. And I think what's so good about using Twitch in the way that they've used it and the way that other people use it is that everybody benefits from this kind of marketing. It benefits obviously the developer of their game because it gets more people's eyes on it. It benefits the streamers because they get more followers, and especially with what they did with this Rust campaign, as they got a bunch of streamers together to play together. So everyone's bringing their own followers with them, and that levels up each individual streamer as they get more exposure, as the game gets more exposure. And the players benefit as well because they get to see cool games. And also what's been done as part of this campaign is they've really used the Twitch drops mechanism, whereby the developer can choose which streamers can participate in the drops. You can do it like stream wide. Anyone who's playing the game can do it, or you can select specific streamers. And essentially the way the drops works, if you don't know, I'm sure you don't know, Dan, but for anyone watching who might not know, basically you can get rewards and in-game loot by watching streamers who have the drop mechanism enabled. And obviously the longer that you watch, the more drops you can get, and if you're there at the right time for the drops. So that's a great way to get people engaged with streamers, and another example of how well that works for everyone. That's a scenario where everyone wins.
Awesome. That's I mean, that is a phenomenal campaign, and just leveraging the tools and the audiences and the way people like to consume games. As as we are learning more and more every day. Like this is not a flash in the pan phase. This is the new way of consuming entertainment.
Yeah, another way of putting it in perspective as well. I know that you were very interested, and you wrote some stuff at the time about the way that Apex launched. Apex didn't do any promo in the run up. They kind of just dropped the game, and a lot of their launch strategy was put around with streamers, specifically with Ninja. They had a large deal with Ninja. It reported he got about $1 million for doing it, but no one has confirmed that. Neither Ninja or EA have confirmed that, but that's thought to be the number that he received. And Apex went on and made 92 million in its launch. So that's a pretty good return on investment. And what also happened is there was more viewers of Ninja's streams over the first 14 days of him playing the game than the official YouTube channel launch trailer got. So more eyes were on Twitch watching Ninja play the game than there were on the launch trailer, which is a more traditional way of launching a game. Obviously, Apex wasn't traditional at all in that there was no build-up, it kind of just dropped. But that showed the confidence that they had in influencers and what streamers could do for a game to take that approach, and it worked.
I seem to remember, like I say, at the time, I was kind of quite fascinated with that, and I think it was that launch period, day, week, I can't remember exactly. I think Apex took something like 50% of the Fortnite player and viewer audiences, which is that's tapered back since Fortnite isn't still an absolute force to be reckoned with, but at a time when it was kind of like nothing can touch this, that was a significant sweep at those huge numbers. So
that was, like you said, that was a huge grab at Fortnite's number. And as you said, Fortnite is such a juggernaut. Taking any kind of chunk out of them is great.
Yeah, I'll take a fraction of a percent, please.
yeah, that'll do. But so that just shows the power of it. And I know you have been looking at like content creator collectives and that kind of thing behind influencers and streaming.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, this isn't our area of expertise, but it's just something that we just come across every day. There's more and more. There's such interesting things happening there, and yeah, this idea of content creator collectives, which I think is kind of what the Rust folks were engaged with. It was a collective of streamers or content creators, and yeah, I've seen other things like you have these kind of live-in environments where you get some collectives of influencers, content creators, and they just put them all in a house. There's a thing called Hype House. There's also esports teams getting involved. So I think FaZe Clan, they've kind of got one or two mansions effectively, and they just put their esports players and they compete in there, and they create. It's not just competitive gaming. It's not just live streaming. They are also creating entertainment content. So this is why we have so many overloaded terms and different terms. Obviously we're familiar with influencers, Instagrammers, and there's this collective term, content creators. I think is, I guess, the all-encompassing term. Although you still see some, as always with the terminology around these things. Streamers are different to content creators. Content creators are kind of prepare and launch. Streamers are live. But yeah, some very interesting things happening both in games and beyond as well. I think Hype House is just a generic, fashion, retail. They're covering all sorts, just fun entertainment. And related, you have these. It's not all just live-ins, like dorms, if you like. There's just collectives, which I think is, as we were saying, for Rust, and they're doing some really powerful things there. They are absolutely capturing hordes of attention, and yeah, really interesting activity, and new. It's all new. These kinds of things haven't been done before. We're all familiar with how traditional TV and cinema and headlines and media works, but this is definitely something a bit different, and very exciting.
Yeah, and I think why people are so receptive to it and why games do so well off the back of it is that it's authentic. Obviously, if you pay an influencer or a streamer to play your game, there's an exchange of money going there. So it's potentially in your interest to talk up the game. But to a point, there is only so much that you can stage manage that. If you're streaming live and you're playing a game, you can say all the best things you want in the world about it. If the game doesn't look great or the game isn't playing great, there's no getting away from it. And when you're going out live and someone is putting your work out there, your game in the public domain of you playing it live, you can't fake that, really. You can put pre-recordings and stuff up, but if you're going out live, that you can only stage manage that to a point. So people are getting the real feel of games and typically real opinions.
And that's definitely a trend in content creation that we're seeing, and I think it's going to be a big deal. Certainly this year, 2021, is we talk about authenticity, and I think the early days of influencers and content creators was very curated. It was very rose tinted. This is my amazing lifestyle. Look at my view on the beach and all these kinds of things, and that that worked, and has been hugely successful for a lot of commercial arrangements and this new celebrity that's coming about. But what seems to be the trend now is this slightly more raw, real life, as much as you or I can associate with it being real life, but it's not about the pristine prep and view. It's about, okay, yeah, this is me. I have been in lockdown all week. I haven't bothered to shave. I am still wearing my jogging bottoms, kind of thing. But we're going to go and check out this game, and I think audiences, that's what they like to see. That is, they feel much closer to the person then. And like you were saying, if you're presenting your products in that environment, it feels much more legitimized. It isn't clearly, they're being paid to say this. And the stories you see are people getting this right and people getting this wrong. It's about creating an authentic, real experience and engagement, not a blatantly, here's this product, I buy it, I love it. And I think authenticity, raw, unedited, is definitely going to be a trend we're going to see more and more with influencers over the coming year.
Yeah, and I think what's great with a platform like Twitch and the other streaming platforms is that you can kind of, if you can pick up a snowball effect where obviously you can kickstart it by paying some of the really big well-known streamers to pick up your game and play it. But then we know there are more and more streamers going onto the platform every day because people want to do it. It's a fun thing to do. People like having that platform, and you can initially pay one of the big boys to get it out there, and that kind of can start the trend. And then more and more streamers might be thinking like, oh, I can get more people to my channel if I start playing this game, and then it starts to roll. And obviously you're not paying those people, they're just trying to get in on the hype of it. And again, that's even more authentic because they're not even being paid. And we know that obviously your ninjas, and when they get paid $1 million and they bring in tons, like that has a huge effect. But typically for not your huge title launches, it's the micro influencers, as they've been dubbed, who have the biggest effect and the biggest conversion rate of a success from someone watching them to going through to making a purchase around the sweet spot of like 1,000 viewers to 10,000. So that's still a lot of people, but it's not the millions of people watching one person.
The long tail of influencers and content creators is very, very long, and you don't want to get into a bidding war with your ninjas unless you are EA or somebody to that effect. But actually, there are incredible numbers of people actually just hobbyists streaming. We're streaming right now, and there are tactics and platforms such as Keymailer that are extremely popular, just to where you can play. Okay, well, we're not going to get the big names, but we are going to get some momentum from this volume of people who are still creating great, compelling content. And they're much more approachable, they're much more accessible, they're much more reasonable, either commercial arrangements or, as you say, just a lot of people will play your game on their stream just to get a copy of the game. And people will even pay for the game and stream them as well. So you've got to look at all ends of the spectrum. It was saying at the beginning, kind of leveraging things like the Twitch drops and other initiatives like that. There's still we're still at the very early days of what's going to be possible, and I'm sure we'll have many more interesting conversations around what goes on in the influencer arena.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what's so good about it is that there are different strands and different methods that you can use for this. It'd be naive to go into it and think it's a one size fits all, like, oh, I'm just going to go into Twitch and start using influencers because I've seen some games do well out of it. You need to think about what your game is and the impact that you can have on it. So things like Rust and Fall Guys have seen great success with, as you're talking about, the content creator collectives, and that there's multiple people being brought together to play it together because it's a chaotic multiplayer experience, and that works well because as we've said, that's bringing all their followers together, and that's fun to watch. That's not necessarily going to work bringing people together if your game isn't multiplayer, or it's maybe not quite as fun multiplayer, interactive and chaotic. That might be where you then go down the route of, okay, we're going to get more high profile people to play it and utilize the drops to have people watching it for longer. So it's not a one size fits all, just throw it on Twitch. It's kind of making sure that your approach to using influencers matches how your game is going to be presented on the platform.
Absolutely. I saw an example recently, and there's, for more kind of, I guess, single player narrative type games, there's I can't remember who it was, but there's a recently rose to popularity streamer who essentially plays as an extra character in the storyline. So it's actually a performance piece. And that's kind of, like you say, kind of benefiting at all levels. That is a person who, certainly at the moment, maybe they're aspiring actor or something like that, and they're using their creativity and they're adding their own value on top of this interesting and engaging storyline that the game is providing. And the viewers are really loving it, and they're interacting with their audience as if they are a character in the game. And it's just another kind of innovative spin on using these platforms.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to watch how it develops and what new things come into Twitch and what new areas you can do. Because obviously we're talking about things like drops and the collective at the moment, like that's what people are doing now. But in the grand scheme of things, like this is still in its infancy. It can grow to be who knows what at this point. So it's going to be fun to watch where that goes and just open up more streams for, no pun intended, for marketers to go down in marketing their game outside of the traditional, TV spots, paid media, that kind of stuff. That stuff's still important, and you shouldn't discount it. But that stuff can only get you so far, and you really hit the sweet spot when all those elements start working together and feeding each other. And it's going to be great to watch as these streaming platforms and influencers get more involved, and how that becomes a bigger part of people's marketing, because it's just I think we're going to see more different things and more interesting things. So I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Absolutely, and we'll keep revisiting this topic, no doubt, and look forward to seeing what unfolds.
Definitely. Unless there is anything else that you want to talk about on influencer marketing, Dan.
I think we should treat the audience to a shorter show than normal, shall we? And we'll wrap it up
Yes,
there for now.
Yeah, we waffled on for a long time last week.
As we do best.
Yes, hopefully people enjoyed it. But yeah, we'll cut it a little bit shorter this week. Thank you for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed our chat, enjoyed Carto. It'd be great to get your views on influencer marketing. Anything you've seen that's cool, send it our way. You can find us on Twitter, Etch Play. And yeah, this episode will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. If you've missed any previous live shows, all our live shows are then uploaded to there. So you can go back and watch it if you weren't here last week. It was a long chat, but it was a good chat. So maybe go check that out. And as always, we'll be back at 4 p.m. next week to chat more video game news, play some games, and we'll be chatting more about video game marketing. Thanks for joining me, Dan. And thank you everyone who tuned in. And we'll see you next week.
See you later.